got to really have good writers and good coverage of your area. And it's not so much of an issue in the bigger cities because there's a lot going on, but in rural areas, they got to get out and interview, you know, people want to read about their neighbors. So if you don't have that, it's a little bit harder. I've been here almost 44 years. I work in pre-press. I've been on press. I've worked in photo lab developing film. I've actually used my own cameras to take pictures of commercial covers for reproduction. So this is the only job I've ever had, really. When I started working here, there's between 120 and 140 people in this building. And now there's, I don't know, less than 50. The baseline of newspapers has always been the same. You know, you've got an ad hole, you've got 60% ad hole and 40% news coverage, and that's the basis. And when that starts failing because of advertising dropping off, because of the internet, you know, you got Craigslist, you got Marketplace, you've got eBay. So people were doing a lot of their sales themselves instead of advertising in classified.
Advertisers don't advertise so much, and they get their word out other ways, like in online and just other ways of getting their word out. And so yeah, we're kind of stuck.
As of the 31st of March, we've collected over $70,000 in advertising revenue for the Post. 75% of that is in our print product, which is once a week. So people still want to spend money to advertise in print. People are still picking up newspapers. So as long as that's happening, then we should be printing them.
Thank you. Now it will always show up here. Green for print.
Beautiful. Thank you, Andrea.
And also, a lot of that's and a lot of like passive voice again, and we've been doing a really good job with that stuff. And I just don't want to backslide with the last 4 weeks of the semester. So keep that in mind.
No, I don't really have anything. Just keep like sending me stuff. But obviously, if I see something, I'll ask. But just please, and that's all.
She said the colleges received a letter like announcement.
Well, maybe they did.
Yeah, see, but then I'm like, then you should have looked into that. You know what I mean? Like, how can I have? Yeah, I think if it's not.
As a student-run publication, we do have the opportunity to be sort of one of the front runners in media coverage in Athens. And that's something that I always want the Post to continue. It has always done, obviously, I want it to continue. Just the fact that, you know, we've been around since 1911 and we're still student-run, we're still independent, and we're also still in print, which is super rare these days.
They don't know what's gonna hit them. Really good content, guys.
Our local newspapers, the Post, the A News, are very sought after by our local community. So whatever amount we have dropped off for our branch is usually gone within a few hours. They don't normally last the day. Well, Athens tends to be a pretty sentimental location. Those of us who have lived and grown up in this community know how special this community is and strive to keep things that are local in service as much as we can. I think there's a sentimentality about your local newspapers. People don't want that to die. They recognize the importance of having something that's really about their specific area. But I also think on top of that, there's not a whole lot of other resources to go to for news, for local news. We're in Appalachia. So not everybody is going to have access to the internet or to online resources or to, other ways to get their information.
I think there's this misconception because we're in a digital age that people think that print is going away. People consume their newspapers, their magazines on their devices, same with books and all of that. Print is not dead.
Do they just not go?
People just didn't show up yet.
Like community newspapers likely survive because of youth sports. Grandma wants to see, was the football game in there? Did my kid's picture get printed in there?
There are people, who really like to hold a paper in their hand and read it. And I'm, one of them.
But there are some people that still think that going to a coffee shop and reading a newspaper is better than looking at a laptop. And God bless them.